option here alongside of Ruffs. We have seen her here before. With the supply drop, he's going to deal out a huge amount of damage. Bell is going to be the option they choose.
Yeah, I really do like that pick as well, and you know, it's just great for control, great for aggression, and just it's not going to do the most DPS, but ultimately going to be something which, you know, if SK do tend to cluster, you know, against the Lola as well, yeah, absolutely going to have a good time all round. The ego going to be very important for that same idea. I'm curious to see what star power SK are running, because in Southeast Asia they've really come into their own with Silver the Kiss, getting the additional heals of the ego now. Hasn't really come and drifted over though to the EMEA region yet, but maybe that's the great time for it. And it's a great time for Carl as well, for FUT Esports. Going for that instead of the Sam, I think is a much safer approach, actually. Especially
against the Lola, of course. Her Shadow isn't going to have a great time here against the Bell and the Carl. I feel like FUT Esports so far really countering the comp that SK Gaming is showing us here so far. Let's see what their last pick is. Usually you want something to counter all three of the opponents. I don't really see that single brawler that they could pick up here. They do have a mid already, but maybe they still have to go with something even heavier here, maybe a B, deciding to go with the Griff now, deciding to break up the map a tiny bit. Isn't this only gonna help the Bell? I don't know. I am really siding with FUT here. I feel like you can hear it.
Rightly so, though. I mean, to be honest, there's not that many options for SK to have delivered in that final pick, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, Cordelius now really kind of dropping down out of the meta. Shelly as well, still in a very good spot, but just kind of in that position where maybe not just perfect to come in now for Ring of Fire as she would normally otherwise be. And I think that Griff is a bit of an underrated brawler. I do quite like it, but whether it's something that SK were really hoping and intending on picking at this stage in the draft, I'm not necessarily convinced.
It kind of reminds me of the time where SK Gaming has been the only roster picking Griff on every single map. It was always Semantic on that brawler. Now they're playing him against his old master. Let's see how well it's gonna go though. Chaos in mid against Rage already, getting tapped up here, of course. Bell against Lolo. An unlikely matchup here. He does need some help from Dino Yoshi on the left-hand side.
Yeah, Drake now forced out of the mid, and that will allow SK to play a bit of catch-up. But it's Lenan who's really caught my eye on that left-hand side for me. Flying hook in and a takedown of Yoshi that will put pressure onto Chaos as SK now start to tie things up in terms of the objective. And now Lenan starts to push forwards. Great slow as well, and Drage with the connection. OP completely out of position now, and FUT can start to retake.
Lenan going in now as well. Yoshi falling. Team wipe by FUT Esports, taking over the lead now, as it has been a very close matchup at the start. Now FUT Esports with the mid control. SK has to push up as all three together, trying to get some control back. OP against Lenan, trying to get in with the gadget, helps him, beating Lenan there. In the end, he does survive it, manages to get into the bushes up top. That's the position where you want to be, and take down onto Yoshi, take down onto Drage. SK Gaming slowly creeping back up.
Yeah, a couple of missed shots there from Drage were costly, but Lenan went straight into the mid, and I think that's wise, and now swapping over, going to the right-hand side. Keeping on that matchup between himself and Yoshi, I think is wise, as big taps coming from Chaos onto Semantic. Flying hook in, protected pirouettes as well, and that is a team wipe for FUT, surely with Semantic on the left-hand side. It is, and that would be the first game then going to FUT.
With two complete team wipes, FUT Esports takes this very first game. Well played by them. The draft, they already kind of hinted towards which of those two teams may reign victorious, but we did see some light for SK Gaming. They did have some great push-ups, especially with the Ember Fuel lying on the floor. Some control was there, but I just really feel like they're missing some range in the mid.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I feel like as well, I want to see the Griff matchup more on the Carl. I think that would just help out SK a little bit here, as it seems certain that Lenan will a couple more taps from Drake just connecting there, but the Bell pick certainly is already going to give them a huge saving grace here. SK have got the tougher comp, and they've got to start making it work.
Let's see if they manage to do so in the second game. Nothing is lost yet. We're in the very first set of our second match of the day. We did see a very close one in the first one already. Let's see if FUT Esports versus SK Gaming is going to be just as close. Very good background here too. Kinda SK, the cathedral of Brawl Stars here. Being here in Cologne with the famous stone all coming together here.
Wow, I want to see the map broken open as well. OP was kind of doing so, but a bit too late on, as I'm not sure what the players are in at the moment. I would assume they are, but we'll wait to see what the feed will say when the spectate comes up, hopefully in just a few moments. Nonetheless though, FUT Esports certainly looking the more confident at the moment, as they should, again, with this draft being much more in their favor. They just seem to have landed the brawlers that they wanted, leaving little choice realistically for SK to have too much of a response, but this comp can still work, though. I'm not completely, it's not out of my mind that they can still start to make things work more in their favor here. They just got to play it just a bit better, be a bit more cautious in their matchups.
I feel like, honestly, even if they just switched some lanes, maybe getting in the Griff or the Ember in mid, it could work out. Finally getting thrown into the game now. FUT Esports already in the lead, 9% only left. Okay, trying to get rid of Lena now. But with 5% only, that FUT Esports still has to pick up here. It's going to be a very hard task for SK Gaming to hold control for the whole duration of 40 seconds. Let's see. Lena pushing up, all three members of FUT Esports standing in the zone, getting those last percentages in, and FUT Esports taking this first set.
Yeah, there's no surprises there. I mean, we're not necessarily too far from the stage, but nonetheless, close enough to hear some Mantic still screaming above all the crowd noise and the headsets that cover our ears. And, we expected nothing less, didn't we, really? I mean, I hope he reserves a little bit of his voice later potentially for interviews, but, I mean, that's what you want, though. A good, solid start, a good, solid draft, and some good team morale. It goes a long way.
Now, that's an interesting question here as well. Semantic used to say he's also kind of trying to intimidate the opponents by just screaming at them, kind of getting them a bit more nervous even. Does that work against your own old teammates?
That's the thing. Ultimately, if you've made that known and that is within your, organization at that moment in time, then they're going to be aware to it. And SK have got good composure for sure. It's just simply about how they now recover from this. Clearly, in terms of the draft, they maybe just ruled out too many options for themselves, actually, a little bit here. Because when it came back around that Griff final pick, it was just simply the way the draft went down. They were not really open to too much other ideas that were really going to battle the meta in that respect. I think going into this next one, though, that's something where they have to work on realistically here and look really, dive deep into what FUT, strive of, what their strengths are in that respect, but also leaving something open for themselves.
I definitely have to agree with you on that one. I would not have known myself what to pick there as last pick. Griff wasn't the best option, but there weren't a lot of options left for them. Let's see if this draft is going to go down any different now, or if FUT Esports remains victorious in the draft already. Kaboom Canyon is going to be the next map. We did see some mag action incoming. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Would you like to see that?
I wasn't too sold on it at that moment in time, but the map was definitely different. I'm not sure whether we're going to see it again, but the bandsmen are Bonnie, Crow, Carl, Squeak, Eve, and Colette. First pick from FUT is going to be Lola, which is kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't necessarily mind it. I mean, again, the meta's been changing up and shifting quite a great deal, but I think, again, with 6 individual brawler bans at play, it's quite a risky thing here, realistically, for SK Gaming, who are going to be going over now to show their first hand of things. But in terms of those bans, I really do like what I'm seeing so far.
Honestly, I would pick a Brock and the Bell now, just going full range, opening up the map now, also countering the Lola Shadow with the Bell bounces. Gonna be kind of a free pick here for SK Gaming. Bell is already incoming now. Let's see if they're actually gonna break up the map as well. With Bonnie, Carl out of the way, Colette as well. Brock is also that one brawler that you still have to deal a lot of damage in a short amount of time here. Let's see if they're actually gonna go for it. Maybe it was also bait from FUT Esports, so maybe they wanted them to go this comp.
Yeah, it's definitely shaping up better for SK. I feel like they're in a better position now. Bringing in Shelly, though, I mean, it was always a decent brawler to have in Kaboom Canyon, no doubt about that. But I kind of was more with you, actually. I think that Brock was a much safer idea, and certainly now one that FUT are going to be picking up. The question now is, like, what do FUT bring in terms of aggression to match that kind of ranged matchup? Because, the Carl is out of the mix. Daryl's a potential option, but without the positioning in this draft, it leaves things way open, and then Shelly's already on the table. If SK wants to double down with a potential counter to that, you're not going to do very much at all in the safe, and that's the concern there, realistically, for me. But Tara, yeah, I was going to say it because I feel like it's still going to get memed in the chat, because Tara's actually not that bad. Trav hates it here. I think it's got a place in Heist. Ultimately, of course, leaving the shadows on the safe cannot be done. Amber, I quite like this from FUT. It's about whether they got the DPS, though, to really manage something which could potentially be a tank coming in from SK now.
I honestly expected Brock to come in now from the side of FUT Esports. I do agree with that Tara and Amber pickup, though. Tara, one of the best counters to the Shelly, actually. So let's see how things are going to go down here. A bit more range on the side of SK so far, simply because of the bell. Let's see with what they're gonna end off and round off their comp in the end. And did you really just say Trev hates Terra somewhere?
Hates it, I know. Who would have thought, right? Exactly. He doesn't necessarily see it in Heist. He doesn't like it in Heist. But yeah, I think Brock had to be the pick for SK. Surprised they went with the Shirley, but they could have actually left that open because then FUT may have just dug themselves a hole and gone in with something tankier and just didn't necessarily kind of foresee that kind of heavier counter. I mean, Shirley, of course, you know, getting her speed down from very fast to now fast. She's still very mobile. That is what is still safe to say when it comes to that particular brawler. So she hasn't had any DPS nerfs or anything like that. No health states changed. So ultimately, it's still going to be very, very good, especially with the speed gear as well in motion. But that's where the Amber's quite a smart idea from FUT. Just try to eradicate as much of that bush as possible. So Shelly's not necessarily as much as a threat.
Things are going to go down the way they have to. Game starting now. Already the broken wall in mid here, thanks to the Brock. I seem to be a bit more in the head of SK Gaming. They do have the comp that I predicted. The comp of FUT Esports, quite experimental. That's exactly what we said. FUT Esports is the team to risk things. Well, let's see if this comp is going to prevail. So far, so good for SK Gaming. Taking over the mid control. It's not that much of a lead, but still some damage on to save.
Yeah, for me, all those pushes down in the position that they are in, I think it's a great start from FUT. They're going to see the crossover big time, and now the Shades are going to connect with the safe as well, and they get taken down eventually by Yoshi, but not before a decent amount of damage going down, giving FUT Esports a 2% lead now, as again, the battle for the mid will commence.
FUT Esports now with the mid control gone from the side of SK Gaming, trying to come back from spawn now. Chaos' one shot has to heal up first. Pushing up in aggressively now. Semantic falling, finally walking into the shot of Yoshi actually. Open on the left-hand side, rocking those band-aids, surviving that one. Almost a team kill. Rage falling now as well. There's the team fight coming in from SK Gaming and they're extending their lead.
Yeah, this is much better from SK, and what I wanted to see from them, just recovering from that previous set and starting to really get their heels dug in deep. Lenan, though, damage gear inbound, going to drop some shades for just healing purposes, I feel, there, but goes down eventually to OP regardless, and that's going to be a tough situation for FUT, especially with Drake completely out of position now, with 1 minute on the clock. If SK keep this control, FUT might be in trouble.
So far, SK Gaming seems to be in trouble now. Semantic finally on save, getting in some huge damage percentages and taking over the lead for his team now. 70-70, never mind, not the lead yet. Let's wait another second. But yeah, so far, mid control for FUT Esports, trying to not give it back to SK Gaming. OP struggling to find a connection. He doesn't have the range to go up to close and comfy with the Terra. Does get taken out there. Great pinch by Rach and Lenan. There's some damage for FUT Esports, taking over the lead now.
Lenan at the 24 HP, and that huge rocket from Yoshi will seal it. Drake on the left-hand side is low, but as is Chaos, but OP coming now into position, should be able to get maybe even a double here, and he does, pushing up the left-hand side now. Lenan's got to come in and clear it, but it's not enough time for a counter push, and FUT Esports are already in the lead by 1% now. SK take it over. Lenan's pushing forwards, but he's too low to realistically do much here. Drake on the right is going to get body blocks, and I just don't see FUT getting it, and they don't.
Great last push there from SK Gaming, turning things around now in the second set, taking over the lead in the first one. I did like the control they had at the start of the set. FUT Esports taking over throughout the whole mid-section of it, but didn't manage to get some damage in, and that's exactly where the missing range coming in from all of them, really. Lola doesn't really have the range to connect to save when she's still in mid, so does Terra. Semantic really the only one that can deal some damage from the 4.
Yeah, FUT Esports just weren't really given a chance to heal more often than not, and those bell shots really were costly. Drage falls, Semantic low as well. Lenan is pushing on the right-hand side here and might get a great opportunity now. The Shadows coming in. OP will take care of a couple, but they are going to get some good early damage here for FUT, continuing to do so. 16% is not too shabby.
How did those Terror Shadows manage to get so much damage in already for Esports with a whopping lead here? Finally, SK Gaming trying to get some controlling, getting another team wipe here. Lenan just coming out of spawn here as well. Warpit trying to hold up some control, pushing up a bit too aggressively in my opinion, but still SK Gaming taking over the lead.
Very back and forth, but one more gadget for Lenan. He's already used 2. The connection not quite there. He found the wall. Oh, and that shot from Yoshi was perfect as well, which is going to deflate so much of what FUT we're going to bring to the table here. Yoshi should be able to heal, and Chaos as well. SK on the back spawn side, but nonetheless, they've got the HP, and now FUT might be overly aggressive here. They've got to be very cautious with this push now. The heals, though, coming from Drake. They are running that Silver Kiss star power on the loader as well, so that will be definitely a helping hand, but nonetheless, they're struggling to find the momentum.
But esports just so relentless, trying to get the connection onto safe again and again. SK Gaming just defending, but they managed to do so quite well again for esports, just not with the range they need to actually get some damage in. Another Terra Super not connecting. OP being a monster at dodging those, now using the water instead of a wall, but still 50 seconds left in the clock. For esports still is the chance to turn things around, but SK Gaming looking so strong at the moment, just completely closing off that mid.
Huge taps into the mid, and now's the last one standing yet again, and I don't like his chances, not with the way this one's going. OP doesn't actually connect them with the super, and Lenan survives on until IKS gets the pickup. But again, with this amount of control of SK, I just don't see FUT pushing through. Semantics too low on the right-hand side. Drake trying to get the mid, and he does now. And now to OP, there is still a chance, a glimmer here for FUT. Now the damage starts to rain in.
Great with the Lola Shadow on this save. This is going to be a huge amount of damage. 14 seconds left on the clock for esports. Collapsing not just safe, it's 10% left for them to take. This game is going to be enough though. Now there's another super onto safe. Terra Shadow doing the rest here. For esports taking over the lead. There's Yoshi at the top though, doing more damage. 3% was all it took. SK Gaming taking the second set, equalizing the scoreline 1-1 now.
It was a decent push for FUT. But at the top of the map, SK were connecting, and it was a desperate attempt from Lenan to connect with the Shade, and he did manage to do just that, but nonetheless, not enough. And going into this next set then, that is something that FUT are going to have to take the momentum.
It is going to be huge.
This gets can really come stew, potentially, if they want to go with that aggressive idea.
Kind of sketch for SK Gaming, and now seeing the strategy forming for FUT Esports, bending out the ends, then going with the Shelly as first pickup here. FUT Esports has the possibility to still come in with that Sam later on, with that Carl, some aggression, and this is where FUT Esports starts to shine. SK Gaming deciding to go with the Stu for now. Of course, one of the best mids, but he also doesn't have the damage output they need to go up against the mentioned tank. Nita does, however. She can cycle her supers very well against any tanks, so that's going to be a good pickup here from SK Gaming. Is it enough though?
It's a tough one to make work. I mean, Carl available, Sam of course as well, could be combined with a poker potential mid here for FUT. That's kind of my approach, have something of a healer in that mid to really support the side lanes and let Lenan do what Lenan does best. Let's see though, as they come in with their picks. It's going to be Sandy. It's a bit of an underrated one. I don't necessarily mind it at all. The Sandstorm, of course, can really cause a great deal of pushback, actually, and SK will be treading cautiously into the wind in that respect. But again, it's not going to be enough. They've got to have that aggressive idea, which is certainly lacking. The Shelly, no doubt about it, aggressive, but Sandy mid, I'm assuming. So Ota's going to come in very much to the flavor of FUT. They do think about it more often than not, and I think in this hand of the draft, it makes a lot of sense to just cover their bases in the potential of something of a tankier idea from SK.
I'm surprised to see that there's no aggression whatsoever from the side of FUT Esports.
Yeah.
A bit of Shelly and Sandy maybe, but other than that, not really. At the same time, we didn't see Sandy in a while. Another experimental pick, you could say, but at the same time, Sandy has been one of the best brawlers here on the map for a very long time, especially against the Stu. When Stu first came out, he was the #1 pick brawler here on the map, reigning, absolutely wrecking everything else as a mid-pick here, up until the point where players find out that Sandy is actually working quite well into that brawler, so definitely good pick up here for FUT Esports. Pam's going to be the last pick up here from SK Gaming. I do like both of those drafts. Again, I feel like SK Gaming has a bit more range, and FUT Esports didn't really go off on the fact that they could go with a tank, seeing that Stu mid. I don't know. I kind of side with SK Gaming's comp here.
Yeah, I do tend to feel the same, especially with that Pam coming in for SK, and that, you know, is a great brawler to have. You know, heals on this map against the Sandstorm as well. You know, will go a long, long way here. And SK do like it more often than not than most other teams in this region now. Let's see how they start though. Fat Spatter early on from Semantic on the left-hand side to see the crossover from Chaos. Drage in the mid, dancing there, and gets the upper hand, gets the takedown. So 3 gems to him early on will go a long way to get a good starting hand. Chaos is low as well. Semantic can't quite find him. But behind this, gets a big smash, and Drage with the pickup as well. Gonna get contested by OP. A nice stun though, just to get away from harm.
But trying to get revenge, getting taken out twice in a row though by Drage instead. 6 gems already on the side of FUT Esports. SK Gaming needs to come back from this one, but it's going to be a hard task here against the Sandy Super here as well. And now just waiting with the Shelly Super in mid as well. It's so tough for SK Gaming. Now I'm not sure if I sided with the correct comp here. FUT Esports makes this Sandy Shelly combination work so beautifully. Otis on the right hand side clearing out his lane now with some help from Drage as well. Yoshi so far not really pushing up on the right hand side. Chaos on the left hand side finally getting some connection onto Lena. Still falling though here. Clay Pigeons coming in clutch.
I still feel like SK could get a takedown at just the right moment in time because Drake's been low quite frequently here.
Oh my god.
And continuing to survive, and most importantly, got a 9-gem lead. That is what's going to buy valuable time to heal up and to go back on the aggressive. But SK are responding pretty well under the circumstances, and these aggressive healing stations there from Yoshiopi comes exactly that. That's what I was worried about. Those aggressive ideas paying off, and OPE is running away, stealing it from the clutches of FUT.
You were calling it. OP got it. Rage with no more gadgets. Can't save himself, and that's 5 seconds on the clock for SK Gaming. FUT Esports needs to take down onto OP, but it's not going to be possible in that short amount of time. SK Gaming running away with the first game, following up with the set they just won. Is it a mental thing, or how did they get Rage there?
I think just it's a very tough brawler to have work because you just got such limited range. You're really dependent on that super. So in those moments of time where you haven't earned it, then SK just be cautious to not feed into it. Lay down the utility, have the healing station there as well, and that's always going to show up with the Mama's Squeeze rather, star power, just to be able to whittle Drage down in terms of his damage. But as we go in again, Wolf have learned from that because ultimately OPE, as we've seen, is such a threat in that regard. They just cannot underestimate him.
What a connection there from another Clay Pigeons finding a goal. OP falling right at the start. Again, Drage with 4 gems, and now Yoshi with a great push up there on the right hand side. Still doesn't confirm any kills. They're all surviving. That's about to be another team wipe here for FUT Esports. Another Clay Pigeons. What is Lena doing on that Shelly?
Going to town, getting the wall taken down, and also the healing station with it, and I think that's the right move. But as time goes on, things start to go against FUT in that regard, and SK will have a bit more of an upper hand and just focus on his left-hand side. So as long as Semantic stays firm as well as she is, and a great connection as well from Drage into the mid onto Chaos, we'll see him very, very low, and that's going to reset the healing as well. A little tippy tap on the left-hand side. OP though goes into the mid, goes into the aggressive, comes back and wastes the gadget. I think Drage used one there, so one less for later.
OP getting muted there on the left-hand side by Semantic. That absolutely dominates his left-hand side lane here. Chaos trying to go back now. Takedown onto OP once again. Chaos manages to get the takedown onto Semantic. That's the opportunity for SK Gaming to come up here. FUT Esports only needs 1 more gem. If SK Gaming manages to hold on control for that mid for the next few seconds, it's gonna be enough for them to still win the round. Maybe another takedown onto Drage. FUT Esports all of a sudden push back all the way into spawn. Now with Sandy Super though pushing up again.
Yeah, Root stands as well on that Sandy star power, so just going to do the damage, not provide any healing, and that's why SK now are just doing so well in the mid. They're just asserting themselves at full HP and just avoiding these shots, but Lanan is there, still much of a threat. But in the meanwhile, look at this, SK have pulled so much time, and the gems with it. Now, just 1 gem away from tying things up.
What a great dodge here from OP. Drage doesn't get the stun off. At the same time, they do manage to pick up the last gem. Countdown for them now. An opportunity for SK Gaming to equalize the score here. They need to take down onto Drage. And FUT Esports know that. Never mind. There weren't 8 gems already, 2 gems spawning time. Why did FUT Esports fall back so far? That made me overthink the whole thing. SK Gaming manages to equalize and now taking over the countdown themselves. Not falling back too quickly. They know they need to pick up another gem and they're secure.
So much aggression, FUT couldn't handle it. They were just forced back in their respect, and now that gem goes into the pocket of OPE, and all the time in the world to retreat back into the spawn. FUT Esports now fall behind as the SK pick up the momentum.
2-1 now for SK Gaming. Well played by them. 2 sets in a row now. That is going to help them, and they might be able to take this momentum also all the way. We didn't talk about predictions, by the way, at the start of the thing. I felt like we're both a bit more siding towards FUT, but just looking at the scrims in the last few days. But now, SK Gaming looks very convincing.
Yeah, just getting warmed up to the plate, and again, that first draft didn't really go their way. Now looking a lot better, as some of those experimental ideas in that second set from FUT didn't really cut it for me. Now, a bit more of a safer idea, but nonetheless, I think some ideas that were lacking still. And going into our, I think it's Brawl up next for Pinball Dreams, they've got to go back to some of their basics. Some of their roots, I feel, is what's lacking here a little bit from FUT. And again, that Rosa ban, such an important one from SK, and one that was certainly learned through the scrims, because that was so much more sided towards FUT in that regard. But now, where it matters most on the stage, is where SK are starting to thrive now. And if they give it one more game on the side of FUT and SK move on to a match point, I mean, they've got to
make it direct. The first match, win this one.
It works every day, and FUT haven't really looked the same since that first set went down. So, Semantic been very quiet in that respect, and has got to bring some life back into his team.
Pinball Dreams, we can talk a bit about the draft already before the teams are even starting it. We have some throwers that are really good on this map. We did see Barley here before, here banned out by FUT Esports, as well as the Rosa and Danita. I do see Carl is still open here. B, both of those are picked very often here, playing very well. Dynamic banned on the side of SK Gaming, as well as Willow. All of the throwers out of the way. Bonnie banned out here as well. SK Gaming does not want FUT Esports to go too aggressive with that Bonnie pick. But I still see some favorites open for FUT Esports.
Very nice.
Squeak first pick is a very, very good first pick for me. That's going to shut down the mid entirely. For FUT, having some range would go a long way to be able to have something of a Squeak counter into the mid. But I think Carl as well has got to be high up on their list of thoughts. Shelly potentially as well. Those are ideas that they can certainly float around here. But they would love to have got their hands on the Barley, but they've chosen to ban it out simply because they know that in the hands of SK it's just equally as good. It's certainly more of a FUT kind of pick. So, for me, Stu coming in, don't mind that at all. Speed Zone would probably be my preferred gadget, but the breakthrough as well, not too bad of an idea, and that Shelly as well. I think that's a wise way to start for me from FUT, and they can just kind of wait and see what SK want to respond with.
Again, they cover something of everything, going a tanky counter here with the Shelly, and then also the Stu just with the mobility, the possibility to open up the map if they decide to do go with something more long-rangey. And with the Shelly out of the way, I do see a Sam maybe still coming in. Finally, we have been talking about him so often already. SK Gaming with the Squeak only so far, doesn't really have anything to go up against the tank. Let's see if they find some other options here. As I said, B would still be an option here. Terra, true, one of the best options here for lane. Can do very well into the Stu, especially as well. Nita banned out here, so not really a counter to the Terra too. I do like that pickup from SK Gaming.
I really love that pick. Honestly, Tara here can get a great deal of value, and the Shelly's going to have to wall break so much realistically here to alleviate some of the pressure that Tara can bring. And FUT will have to play a lot more cautiously. That utility as well over time will dwindle, and that's where Tara has more of the weakness. Cordelius as well is a great pairing. I mean, that's realistically the best thing that SK can hope for. It's hard for me not to side with SK already, to be honest. I mean, Cordelius is still viable, just not necessarily absolutely everywhere. Certainly in Brawl Ball is one of the stronger modes for it, and Tara, it's looking very good for SK, I'm not going to lie.
I do think the best modes for Cordelius are probably Hudson and Brawl Ball, so I do like to pick up there as the last one. Shelly and Cordelius have been banned out throughout the whole last season. Before the balance changes were happening, now they got nerfed a tiny bit, so they're just not good enough to ban them out, but still good enough to get picked. So I love to see that both of them on the field now for Esports, with the last pick deciding to go with the Ems. I do not know if that was the pick here, honestly. It's good against tanks. Terra usually winning against the Ems if they're just running at each other. Of course, Ems with the friend zoner is gonna win one or two of the first interactions, but after that, Terra should win that one. Squeak, great matchup here into the Ems as well. I don't really see why that was the pick that is supposed to be good into all of SK Gaming's comp.
Ems is great on defense if you got super. If you haven't got that super and the walls are realistically all where they are supposed to be, it's going to be a very tough defense. I mean, because the amount of walls on this map, Acid Spray's not actually a bad choice of gadget, but likely, you know, having the friend zone is better to have that knockback to deflate a potential goal scoring opportunity. And, you know, I worry for FUT here, but maybe I shouldn't be. They're going completely aggressive early on, and they've cleared up a lot of space for themselves. Manan is alone. He's going to have to wait for his teammates to come forwards, but they obviously had a bit of a back and forth in those first opening 10 seconds, which was in favor of them, and I think that is going to help out tremendously more. FUT need to have a good early start here to be able to assert this kind of pressure.
Good defense so far for SK Gaming. Yoshi taking Lina into the Shadow Realms, getting the takedown there. Rage. Wasn't that not an opportunity to score there? Maybe the Super Semantic tries to follow up on that one, doesn't get it in the end. SK Gaming successfully defended that one for D-Sports with the first goal opportunity here. Looking at those comps, honestly, I would have picked up the Sandy again instead of the Ems, doing a very good job at also bringing Shelly closer to the opponents whenever she has Super.
Well, Semantic is doing wondrous work here. Got a Super off the back of it as well, and continuing the aggression now. Ball there. It's going to remain in that mid. And SK will try to recover themselves from it. Great dashing from Drage, gets to pick up onto IKaos there, leaving just OP and Yoshi. They can just try to bait out this Tara Super as well. It's going to actually connect though very heavily so onto Semantic, and that is a good clear up of the left-hand side. 2 out of the 3 members of FUT are down, and now SK taking an affirming position in the mid.
We don't have a single brawler on the map that is considered to have a long range, but yet the map is completely open up already. Yoshi jumping over the wall there, getting a takedown to once again. Semantic Rage trying to defend off OK from passing the ball to Yoshi, but that has to be a goal here. Friendzoner is going to play a huge role here. Lina does clear the ball there. Great defense here from FUT Esports. Still 0-0 and 30 seconds only left on the clock.
Perfect M's defense there, and that's what FUT Esports going to have to hope on having later on again, because, you know, ultimately they've gone for the friend zone. It works perfectly well, but without Super now, this is the time that SK can strike, and Yoshi's going straight for the jugular, jumps over the wall, gets the takedown as well. Drage, they're staying alive here, so crucial because the pass could come through. There it is. Oh! The takedown just in the nick of time. Drage comes out on top and keeps things alive for FUT.
Open out, pushing up again. He does have a Super. Does looking into getting the Super onto Semantic. Maybe even Lina. Let's get Semantic. Find the connection there. Pinched by Yoshi. So SK Gaming is pushing up once again. 50 seconds to score, but they don't need that. Chaos with a Super. Trying to slot it in, but Drage there as goalie of the year, catching him in the act. Yoshi again tossing back to Chaos. Both of them are one shot though. Can they manage to find that goal? So far not.
Oh, that was a close one. I thought that should have been a goal realistically there for SK, but Chaos and his squad just really wanted to wait for, you know, Drage to not have a Super to dash around things, but then they shot, it was straight into the hands of Drage. Pushing forwards now with a great amount of aggression. The ball could get passed through here, and Drage is still alive for it, so his shot was not there, but nonetheless, the goal is, and FUT start to fight back.
FUT Esports 1-0 up in Brawl Ball now. SK Gaming with 2 goal opportunities that they didn't find a connection with. FUT Esports had also a great opportunity at the start, also didn't manage to do so. Overtime was where it all came down to. FUT Esports leading now. Maybe they found their mental back. That missed Terra Super in the end. That hurts to see.
Yeah, but the opportunities that led up to that overtime for me were much more of SK, and FUT with some great defenses for sure, but at the wrong time, if that occurs in the next game, it's going to certainly evade to a goal. They were lucky to have the utility that they had at the time to defend it as well as they did, but if that wasn't there, certainly not. So they've got to be cautious. Good takedowns there all round, just leaving IKaos as the last one standing. Here finds Semantic with a lovely shot as well. Wasted Super there as a result of it, but nonetheless, takes care of house. Drage just thinking about moving forward, so he gets a lovely few taps and dancing around things, really working things well with that ping. Great pass through, oh my word! What an incredible piece of footwork, and it finds the last feet, wonderful stuff.
What a pass there, Drage managing to hand over the ball to Lina, slotting it in. It only took them 1 minute and they're already reigning this set and also the game here. Drage with another opportunity here, Chaos the last man standing, Yoshi just coming out of spawn. They defend this one here, but they only have 1 minute 25 to equalize the score here to still keep this Brawl Ball set alive. Maybe still getting their match point. After all, SK Gaming, they had 3 chances in the monthly finals to close things off. Didn't manage to do so against Data Division. Is it the fate now for them again? LP scoring this one. Well played for him. SK Gaming finally managing to push up here, but FUT Esports, so much aggression every single time with Semantic on that Charlie. Drage on this too once again.
Great response there from SK, but FUT are wasting no time in getting back into the thick of things. OPE low, good connection from Yoshi, does take care of that left-hand side, and then follows on to Drage. It's just a Lenan, and this the slow is not enough. IKEAS will defend it, puts the ball in the corner for safekeeping, and why not? There's 40 seconds on the clock still remaining, and they can just move up the map, take care of this mid, and put FUT back into the defensive position.
They are so strong in that squeak, finding the connection with Semantic, now also with Drage. Surviving that interaction even. Drage just one-shot here. Here's the fullback with Series OP. Yoshi finds the connection onto Semantic, but he just in the nick of time got the takedown he needed on to that Terra looking into scoring. 14 seconds left on the clock. We're gonna head into another overtime.
So close, so back and forth, but FUT have survived this. Can they make an opportunity for themselves? They're pushing forwards, ball past the Lenar, super shot available, waits for the walls to go down, but it goes to the hands of OPE, and he will go down the left-hand side, leaving Drage all alone. It's going to be a reset, a successful defense for SK.
Chaos hitting every single shot with that squeak. Team wipe from SK Gaming here, pushing up the map now, open with the super available. This has to be a score, surely. They're looking into getting their match point for esports, wants to prolong the game, going into set for potentially for esports pushing up again. They do have to make control.
My god.
Connection finds with Lena here. Chaos pushing up the map. 2v1. Can Semantic defend this one? Yoshi gets the ball. Never mind.
They played each other's paths, and FUT came out on top of things yet again. How many opportunities will it take for SK to prevail in that regard? But that was certainly a goal, but it was just the way that it was baited. FUT played it so well. Semantic couldn't go to on the aggressive, didn't want to feed the super, and Yoshi was just not able to just make an advantage of the situation. It's reset, it's a tie. We're going to play it out again. But that should have been, I mean, on both sides of the coin, let's be honest, because FUT had opportunities as well that they missed. They're just not able to find the space for these shots.
We had some great goal opportunities from both those teams, both of them not always making it actually to score in the end, but you saw the confusion on my face. What was happening there in the last few seconds? Still one up in this set. This put esports now. They had two great starts in the last two rounds. SK Gaming now pushing up a bit more aggressively. Yoshi looking into jumping over the wall maybe. He does have a super connecting with Drage there. Gets the takedown. Revenge though by Chaos immediately. 2v2.
Well, Semantic can just wait out things on the left-hand side here. Has super to hand. Now he connects with it and a follow-up with the gadget as well. But Shadow's still coming in. Will be a problem. It will stop him healing as well. And OP has still got that connection for the super, and Drage is the one who will go desperately down for it. Now, a chance here for SK pushing forwards yet again. IKEAS full health, and Yoshi healing the right-hand side. Almost a shot on goal! Leland finds the position as well just to get it into safety. But that was a very good attempt from SK, I'm not going to lie.
Shots coming from Chaos once again. Rage falls low, still decides to push up here along with his teammates. They have to great control at the moment for esports. Getting the takedown to Yoshi so crucial now. OP and Chaos have to defend on their own. OP with the super though, looking into finding a connection with Semantic once again, maybe breaking up the map again. Let's see later on connection with Lena here from Chaos' super, using second star power here, just dealing more damage. Yoshi finds the connection onto Lena, gets a takedown. Does he get Drage as well? Never mind. Drage traded Yoshi here. 2v2.
Bang!
Oh, Semantic survives to the right-hand side. Low HP have broken some space open in the meanwhile. And Lenan didn't waste super, kept hold of it, stayed calm, took the death as he probably should in that situation. Now, for esports, getting themselves dug in deep again on the offensive. SK on the ropes now, but OPE will have a bit of a life-saving super there as well to hand. IKEAS though, no more sticky residue for him, no more gadgets. So some utility gone down now. And FUT know it, this is their time to strike.
But esports have been having the mid control throughout that whole game. Still not managing to score so far, but SK Gaming push back into spawn at all times. Great super coming out from OP. OP falling. Kills. And Yoshi is the last standing here. Yoshi gets the takedown onto Lena. Semantic doesn't find the ball there. 13 seconds left on the clock until we head into the third overtime in a row.
Another golden opportunity there, honestly, for FUT. And it should have really been a goal. SK defend yet again. We're going into yet another overtime. OP's got super on the left-hand side. All three members of SK have got super. No one for FUT does. A huge connection from Chaos. OP, will he connect with
Patay!
Will Semantic's going to go down. The pass-through is just strange. 43 HP.
Oh!
Oh, he gets it! He actually gets it! How?
What's going on here? Not a single goal opportunity actually taken here. SK Gaming once again not scoring. 30 seconds left on the clock now for FUT Esports. So return the favor. Rage with the super, trying to connect the Yoshi.
Grabe
catching
din
that
talaga.
one. Though we head into another one here. Again, a 0-0.
Mag-super ka.
Let's see. Okay,
Mag-super
connects
ka.
the super with Semantic. Semantic
Yan.
still surviving though. Chaos and Yoshi both one shot. This is going to be FUT Esports taking away Pro Bowl here. Both of those teams seem to be better at defending as at scoring. Let's put it that way.
Or
Insane
equally as terrible
defense,
at scoring. Yeah, I'm struggling to think now as to whether it was just great defensiveness or just terrible shots.
What's going on?
Nonetheless, what a defense in that later stage. I thought that was a game for SK in the bag, no doubt about it, but just a slither of HP for Drage, who was playing out of his mind during that set. I've got to say, MVP for me. But, I mean, what a time just to catch the ball before going down. I mean, that's why it didn't go in. If he was gone, that was a walk-in, a free goal. And I rarely say the word free, but that would have been it.
It was kind of also miscalculation by Chaos there. He thought he would go down with that single shot. And then wanting to go into the left-hand side instead of the...
Set 5 na tayo.
Still available, RT as well. There it is from SK. Okay. You'll have to see it. Certainly, I do like the bans. I like things, the way that things are shaping up to be, but the Gene, no doubt about it, going to provide a lot of healing on the side for esports. But the RT, you know, that is a great brawler to have as your first pick, and probably my preferred, to be honest.
Especially against the Gene, it's going to do great, even when the Gene gets a pull onto him or a Shelly as to that. He's not going to have the best time taking him down, actually, if they have their super. We have a lot of throwers options here open as well. Grom and Sprout both are still shining on this map. Let's see if one of those two are going to be picked up anytime soon. I do believe for the esports spending out two options that can break walls, and then Gray that is just great overall with his teleport against any throwers. They are looking into getting a thrower. Goss is open here as well, one of the best picks here. Bonnie bend out. Usually the to-go brawler here for the esports. Let's see, Otis. They did like him on double swoosh already. Didn't work out for them quite as much as they would have liked to. Trying him again here. But yeah, it's okay against the Shelly, I assume.
I'm not a huge fan of Otis. I know that FUT love to bring it in more often than not, but I'm just not really feeling it more than often. And you know, Gus, Bell, you know, Mr. P, I mean, they're all still around, potentially here to be picked, and FUT are cautious around something, you know, but I think that SK are more likely to go control as their final pick than they are going to be going tank. But tank is what FUT are feeling, and that explains it. I mean, it's definitely high risk, high reward stuff coming in, and again, that kind of creative flow. But I mean, Cordelius is the biggest counter to Daryl on the majority of maps. I don't know whether it's really on the minds of SK. It might be forcing their hand a little bit in terms of the pick, but they're obviously not scared of the Shelly. So SK might want to double down with a bit of a counter now that they've seen the Daryl show its face.
Quite surprising to see that picking a tank into a Shelly. Maybe the nerf have hit her more than what we believed. Let's see if it's going to be the last pickup here. Of course, one of the best pickups into a Gene, simply because of the hatchling spawning in, defending themselves for that super. But is it enough to go up against the Daryl? They do have the Shelly. Other than that...
Denso from FUT, I mean, because the Daryl pick is certainly one that OP would love to have got his hands on. So by going Cordelius, but I mean, they've gone with Eve, there's a much better approach for sure. Hatchlings will be an issue that they'll have to take care of. Fat Spatter early down, OP low already. Semantic though as well is playing a carefully calculated game, I guess, but was low himself, going to heal up faster. Though, and for FUT, they've got to play until the late game. This is the thing, they cannot go too aggressive too soon. This Daryl has got to survive into the time when the gas starts to close, and then Lenon can really start to pop off.
Left to right, both those teams playing it like we're used to see on this map. Rage just trying to get his Gene super. They're already waiting with his. Lena, of course, on this brawler, and Semantic with Otis against Chaos on the bottom half of the map. I'm really interested to see how things are going to play out. Here is the very last set we're going to watch between SK Gaming and FUT Esports. It looked like FUT Esports headed off the road first set. SK Gaming then sweeping 2 in a row. And now for these boys equalizing. In the end, Lena has to use a super just to get out of that way. Doesn't want to pay to get him taken out here. Okay, falling himself now. 3v2 situation here in the end. Yoshi gets a takedown onto Lena. 2v1 now. Yoshi against the rest of the world doesn't get it. For esports, taking the first round.
I thought that was going the way of SK, I'm not going to lie. I thought that Yoshi had that. What a close one. And it was really smart, realistically, there to really bait the super from Lenan, because that is the perfect time to eradicate that from the Darryls. The gas is closing in, and FUT played it perfect, eradicated the Shelly from the mix, and that allowed them space to be able to maneuver. Now, that first round in the pocket, the best start they could hope for now, as SK will certainly give it their best to be able to respond 3 consecutive times there from Yoshi, but a great pull from Drage. Sees to IKS, leaving OP and Yoshi all alone, and this is not looking good for SK.
Chaos doesn't manage to find to catch it in time and gets taken out here. 2v3 situation. SK Gaming looking into handing that match point to FUT Esports. Now the match point that they have been waiting for. Already with a great roll, gets a takedown onto Shelly. Ope falling. Yoshi again. 1v3 situation here. All 3 members of FUT Esports with a super. This is close to impossible here for him. It looked like he died before his legs, but he died in the end. FUT Esports taking the match point here. 1-0 up in the set.
I love that towards the end. Use Drage as bait. You know, they want to get rid of the Shelly, and they are doing just that. SK have got to be more cautious around retaining that particular brawler into the later stages. It can get so much value, and it's the best counter to the Darryl that they've got. But FUT are just really landing these gene pools, and there's nothing so far that SK have shown to be able to counter that and just juke and dodge them and just bait those things out. And got to take some learnings from that last game. It's match point now for FUT, and what a position for them to find themselves in.
Touching that Gene Gadget. Vengeful Spirits just in time, not going down here. Drage is falling. So is Lana. Semantic 1v3 situation now for him. That was a quick round. The strategy didn't work out for the esports to decide to go back to their left-hand side lane, right-hand side for us, of course. And we're back at playing from left to right here.
That was the most convincing round for SK, and that is the way to play it. They've got to go on the aggressive early on. They do not want to allow FUT to have those later stage moments that they've shown they can win time and time again. Pushing forwards now, trying to base out the pull, but he instantly goes down. No time for super. 3 versus 2, and a great chance now to pull this one back.
SK Gaming picking up that Shelly, hoping it would be enough to stop that Gene super, but if they get to take down as quickly as they just did, it's impossible for SK Gaming to win this one. Rage connecting every single Gene shot so far. Gene super. 2v3 situation now. SK Gaming push back all the way into spawn, and for esports just trying to get some supers out of that situation. SK Gaming deciding to head into the smoke, not giving them any charge.
1 round away for FUT, and they will take it in what is arguably their most important matchup today. What a way this will go. SK do not claim back around. It's match point for FUT. 1 round away from SK from just alleviating the pressure and bringing things back to tie. And it's a tough spot for SK now, because they'd like to go on the aggressive and get this in the bag before overtime hits, but they're forced to play passively because of the position that FUT put themselves in.
All 3 members on the side of SK Gaming with super now. Rage still looking to get his as well. If we hit overtime though with the Ota super and Darryl, it's gonna be an easier task for esports, I feel like, than for SK Gaming to win this one. And they do only need this very last round to get the win overall. Just playing very slowly at the moment. Both sides trying to get their supers. Drage at least is still.
Yeah, Drage needs it for sure, but now Chaos are selling the hatchlings, and they are waiting to have now as the ball connects though, and that is bad news for SK. But now 2 versus 2, a chance to glimmer. Lena rolling in. IKS low, OP is low, Drage survives on, and it's not going to be enough. SK bring it back. It's match point, match point.
Match point.
Double match point. Now I get to say the sentence. This cannot be any closer between SK Gaming and FUT Esports. Both of them looking into getting their very first win of the day. Maybe some more to follow later on. We're about to find out. First, I'm really eager to see who's going to take this one away. Those 2 teams are really 2 of the best we have in the regions. They're proving it time and time again.
Well, SKO showing more
Laka.
signs of life this time
Pigeon,
around.
patay!
OP in, Drage instantly goes down, and here's their best form of defense. Let's be honest, he's been landing so many pools and making so much space, and he's gone. Lenan rolls in aggressively. We'll find OPE, comes back, but he will get taken care of by Yoshi. It's Semantic all alone. 1 versus 1! Oh my word, now a chance to heal, and this is now very, very interesting.
1v1 between Yoshi and Semantic RT versus Otis. I feel like if Otis had a super, it would be a clear win for him, but simply because of the range of Yoshi like this, I do feel like Yoshi should take that one. They're both going to play it very slowly. Here Yoshi popping a gadget even, Semantic just healing up in the meantime. Yoshi with a super can just hawk the wall really and not give Semantic enough space to come back into that game.
Oh, not the best gadget there for Semantic. Would like to have got a bit more depth to it, and now being forced away from the gas. A huge hit from Yoshi will seal it. SK stay composed. They keep control, and 1 round away now from them taking it all.
Just up for FUT Esports was 1 round away. It's now SK Gaming taking over that lead and not giving FUT Esports any room to get their supers even. Drage hitting every single Gene super so far, definitely does not want to be feeded. Or SK Gaming does not want him to be feeded here. Trying to focus more on Semantic and Lena to start off this round.
Well, IKS would definitely love to have the hatchlings for this round, no doubt about that. But none can't really do too much until the later stages, and Drage without pull, it's going to be a tough thing to make work, but in the top side of the map, Semantic gets some taps into Chaos, and that's going to feed him towards then the Mute, and we know what that can do in the later stages. Gas not too far away now, and that is actually spelling a good sign here from FUT.
Chaos now placing down his hatchlings. Let's see if they get some pressure in later on. Semantic
nice.
gets rid of it right away, open with another clay pigeons. It rages on 120 HP, but it's still not falling. Finally it is. 3v2 situation here, and SK Gaming takes it.
No.
They take knockout and they take the win over their very first match of the day. 3v2 against FUT Esports.
I mean, that is how you do
Insane.
it. SK were not deterred by the serious amount of pressure that FUT were able to place upon them, because FUT were playing that round perfect. That set was looking like a clean sheet for me from FUT, and they bounced back from it against all the odds, right when it mattered most.
Insane matches.
Well, we're going to head over to the stage. We're going to be in